Thank you for stopping by Ballistic BBQ. On today's video, I'm going to be grilling up, low and slow, what I'm calling Mayan baby back ribs. We're using the Sunterra Pro Argentine grill. Let's get going. So not too long ago, myself and a few other outdoor YouTube cooks were approached by YOU-CAH-TEK-OH Hot Sauce Company, and we were presented with a challenge. The challenge was basically to create a recipe utilizing one or more of their sauces as an actual ingredient rather than a condiment. Right up my alley, so I happily accepted the challenge. So big thank you to YOU-CAH-TEK-OH for sponsoring this video. We're going to kick it off with a very basic rub. So we're going to kick this off with some achiote seed. This is a seed from the annatto tree, and it has a nice peppery taste to it. Kind of tastes like pepper, but it also presents this really cool kind of orangish red color. And I'm using a coffee mill. This is in seed form. You'll find this at a lot of the stores as a paste or a powder. I'll have links for all the ingredients I'm using. I'll put links. So we're going to grind this into a powder. I don't know if you're supposed to do this, but I always do. Tip it upside down, that is. And there we are. It smells really good. It's again, has a peppery but kind of a fruity smell. So this is about 1/4 cup. Put this in a bowl. Next ingredient is just some coarse ground sea salt. Get that in here. This is about 3/4 cup. And there we are. Let's get those ribs out. So I have some beautiful, really meaty baby backs here. The membranes were already removed by my butcher, so thanks for that. That's kind of cool. Let's get this on. Yeah, smells really good. Like I said, it's almost has a bit of a fruity smell to it. So what I'm going to do now is just allow these to kind of sweat through this rub just a bit. The cooker's almost ready, so I'll meet you guys here at the pit. So we're burning red oak for this cook, and basically what I'm going to use is a combination of raising and lowering the grate, and then also pushing back or pulling the coal underneath the meat to control the heat. I'm not using any type of thermometers or anything. I'm basically just using my hand. And I do not want that searing heat, you know, like that 3-second, ouch, got to get it off. I want it to be more of a kind of a gentle temperature, if that makes any sense. So again, I'm looking for probably, you know, in the 200 range as far as feeling my hand here. So we'll get these racks on, and I can easily get 4 racks on one grate. So again, I've got logs burning on the brasero back here, and I've already got some really nice coal underneath those logs that I'm going to bring out underneath the ribs here. So now really all it's about is just kind of monitoring the cook. The one difference that you'll find cooking this way as opposed to, you know, cooking in a big offset smoker or whatever is I will have to flip these ribs. So in about 30 minutes or so, I'll give them a flip. If they look like they're starting to get, you know, a little dry, spritz them with water just like I would on an offset. As these reach the end of the cook, I'm going to start basting them with this insane, what I'm going to call Mayan barbecue sauce, which we're going to make right now. Okay, before I start making this barbecue sauce, let me show you the hot sauces that I had to choose from here. We had Jalapeno, Chipotle Hot Sauce, Caribbean Hot Sauce, Red Habanero Hot Sauce, Green Habanero Hot Sauce, Black Label Reserve Habanero Hot Sauce, and XXX Hot Habanero Sauce. And I actually selected 2 sauces to use in this barbecue sauce. I'm going to use the red habanero and the chipotle. For this recipe, I'm going to start out using the molcajete. I have here some allspice. This is whole allspice. And just because I know what's going to happen, I'm going to go ahead and start breaking these down right now. They're going to be rolling across my patio like BBs. One of my favorite spices here, I just love it. I have here whole coriander seeds. You'll like the flavor that the seeds provide. Again, I'm just going to kind of get these broken up a little bit. Some whole peppercorn, black pepper. Some Mexican oregano. And I have here a couple bay leaves. These are dried bay leaves. Just going to crush them in. Smells awesome. Set this aside. Now we're going to go ahead and prepare these prickly pears. For those of you who do not know what this beautiful thing is, it's a prickly pear fruit. And it grows on a cactus. We have tons of these cactuses growing out. Any of the canyons out here, we're going to have just groves of these things. We call them prickly pears, the cactus itself, but in Mexico you'll see them called nopales, and you can actually eat the blades, the green blades, and the fruit. And this fruit is awesome. I grew up eating this stuff. It tastes like a cross between a kiwi fruit and like currants or berry, kind of a berry flavor, but a kiwi flavor. Really good, and I'll have links down below. I was looking online because I didn't want to kind of alienate people if they wanted to try this recipe out. And you can actually buy like the meat of this fruit packaged on Amazon. So I'll have links below, but it's worth trying, and makes a killer jelly, and you can use it in cocktails, all sorts of stuff. I will say though, if you have these growing around where you live, realize that these little spots on here are normally going to have little clusters of very, very thin, sharp spines. If you buy these I bought these at a Mexican market, they graciously remove those spines so you don't have to deal with them. So what we're going to do first is just sort of peel them. Cut these ends off, but you see how beautiful that fruit is? It's just that nice red color. And again, that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to use that black hot sauce, just because I want to make sure that this color comes out. So you cut the ends off, then just make a little kind of an incision through the top here. Then it should just peel right off. There we go. Isn't that really cool looking? Kind of a magenta color. So just cut these. But look at that, look what it's doing in my cutting board here. This is going to be a really pretty sauce. So I'm going the easy route here. I didn't want to mess up a big food processor or anything. I'm just using the shake blender thing here for my Ninja. So get these in here. And there we go. It's pretty darn cool looking. Let's make a barbecue sauce here. So in this bowl here, I'm putting, this is about 1 3/4 cups of agave nectar. And you can substitute honey. 3 of those fruits, and this is probably about a 1/2 cup or so. Look at that. That looks good. God, it tastes good. Now that herb blend here. Get this mixed up. Right now for the YOU-CAH-TEK-OH hot sauce, this at the moment is a very, very sweet barbecue sauce, so we're going to balance it off with some heat. I'm putting in 2 teaspoons rather, of the red habanero. It's going to add a nice heat, and habanero is my favorite of the sauce type, hot sauce peppers, just simply because it has a nice, actually has kind of a fruit flavor to it. It's not just heat. Now we're going to add some of that chipotle, and basically chipotle it's a smoked, ripened, so the pepper's red, jalapeno. So this is going to add a nice smoky flavor. And I'm going to go with 2 teaspoons of this as well. So we're getting different types of heat here and a little smoke. And we didn't lose the beautiful color. There we are. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get this into a saucepan on the stove, and I'm just going to simmer it for probably, a good 25-30 minutes. I'm in no rush. The ribs actually getting ready to probably flip those guys here real soon. So yeah, it's been about 30 minutes. I've already raised the grate up a little bit. I was hearing a little bit more sizzling than I wanted to hear. Again, the thing I really like about this style of cooking is it's a lot of instinct comes in. Again, the temperature, the way it feels on my hand, the way I'm feeling it on my face, and just listening to the ribs. They're going to tell you, hey, flip me. And I'll show you, I want to get a close-up of this. That rub I made, the achiote, it's already kind of turning almost a saffron color. So now, like any barbecue cook, I'm just monitoring these ribs. Like I said, I'll probably end up spritzing them on the flip. So whenever they start looking a little dry, I'm going to give them a little bit of water. I'm just spritzing them with water. As these things become tender and you get that pullback, then I'll start basting it with this insane sauce. We're looking at 4 to 5 hour cook here though, just like it would be on an offset. Okay, we are 2 hours in, and I wanted to give you a look at the color on these ribs. The achiote, it's turning that kind of, like I said, a saffron yellowish color. It's just gorgeous. So like I said, about every 30 minutes or so, I've been flipping these, just kind of keeping an eye on them. Kept the grate at this level since the last time I saw you guys. I have been, again, just as the logs produce more charcoal, raking it under there. So I've been mainly controlling the temp at this point, with the bed of coals down below. But wow. You can see we're already starting to get some pullback on the ribs. And they just such a pretty color. So 1 more hour with the ribs cooking as they are, just on their grate here. And then I'm going to start basting with the ribs. The nice thing is how high they are. The sauce is not going to get burnt onto the ribs. It's just going to get really nice and caramely. It smells really good. I mean, the blend of the oak smoke with the rendering pork. It's a good thing. We are at hour 3 now. This cook is going amazing, and it's time to baste these ribs. You can see I'm getting nice pullback is starting here. It looks like candy, but honestly, it doesn't taste like it looks. I mean, it's definitely sweet, but it's got a nice heat to it, and then also a nice kind of a herbal flavor, kind of spices and herbal flavor. And whenever I'm cooking a Mexican meal, gotta have the Mexican onions. So I'm just gonna roast these alongside the ribs. And if the ribs finish before the onions, then I'll just lower the grate and give these a nice char. See you guys in a little bit. All right, so we're going for the second flip of these ribs. I did the first one after that first half hour, actually off of camera. Nice. Now I did lower the grates a little bit. Raise this just a hair. Tell you what, I'm going to get this rack towards that fire box or fire bracero. Meat is thicker here. There is a little bit more warmth on the bracero side of the grate here. I'm not taking the temperature. Well, I can't because my battery's dead anyway. But I do just want to kind of see where I'm at. Yeah, these are almost done. A little bit more resistance than I'm looking for. So we'll let them go a little bit longer. So I'm guessing we have about 1 more hour left. These ribs are getting really, really tender. They're just not 100% there yet. So I'll give them 1 more flip in about 30 minutes and that'll be the last flip. And then I'm willing to bet they'll be done after that. I'm back after 30 minutes. We're going to do a final flip, which I'm really happy this cook's almost done because the sun is really starting to aggravate me. Let me get these onions out of the way here. Put them off to the side. They're done. Put them sideways this time. I'm not going to bother even basting the backs of these, but wow, they are gorgeous. All right, that final 30 minutes is over. It's time to check out some ribs. So gorgeous. Look at that. So the next thing I'm going to do is pull the ribs from the pit, let them rest before we slice them up. I'm going to get this table out of this horrible sun so you guys can see the ribs, and stick around. Please stick around, because while I was in the house waiting for these ribs to finish, I came up with a cocktail idea. It's completely inspired and built around this cook. You're going to want to see that. So I'm doing something different here. Before I get my cutting board all jacked up from the rib goodness, I want to make this cocktail. Honestly, I ran out today and I bought a 6-pack of Modelo, and that was what I was planning on toasting you guys with at the end of this video. But I was inspired by the barbecue sauce and everything. So, making you guys a special cocktail I just whipped up in my head. Let's go get going here. Right here I have a tumbler full of ice. I have here 2.5 ounces of a good tequila, and honestly, if you're going to drink a tequila, please make it a good tequila. The stuff that people talk about their college days, it's honestly not real tequila. You need to look for 100% blue agave on tequila. Kind of going out of order here, but I have here 2 ounces of agave nectar, 2 ounces of triple sec, it's got an orange liqueur, 2 ounces of guava nectar. You guys remember this? This is one of those prickly pears that I blended up. So prickly pear nectar, I'll call it. So set that off to the side. So right here, empty tumbler, obviously. Right here on this plate, I have a paper towel, and it's basically has a liquid on it. It's 2 teaspoons of water mixed with 1 teaspoon of that El Yucateco, the red habanero sauce that I mixed up really good and poured it on this paper towel. We're gonna rim this glass with it. Then here I have tagine, and if any of you know the splendor of tagine, you'll know that it's great stuff. It's basically, it's a Mexican thing. It's a blend of like chili powder. It's got salt, sugar, lime. Sometimes it'll have a little bit of tamarind in there. It's good, really good stuff. It goes great on watermelon. And it's also good on margaritas and stuff to rim the glass with. So there we go, we've rimmed the glass. We can get this stuff out of here. Now we'll take our ice. It's a hot day. There's some water in there too. Good shake. This makes all the difference. It makes for such a cold, cold cocktail. Pour that in there. That is cool looking. Garnished with a little lime. This is pretty, and I don't know what to name it. I'm not going to put a little umbrella in there. This is a gorgeous drink though. We'll see how it tastes in a few minutes. Let's get these ribs carved up. No, I honestly have to say, as far as aesthetically, I mean, these are some of the most beautiful ribs I've ever seen. I mean, they're gorgeous. I'm excited about this. And I'm not going to cut up both racks. Wow. Okay, let's get to the fun part, the actual trying. So, very juicy. I hope you can see that. Typical of ribs cooked this way, you're not going to get that crazy smoke ring. You're just not. They're not, you know, in an enclosed environment. I mean, it's basically low and slow grilling is what it is. But one thing that I've noticed in all the cooks I've done on this thing, and I've done a lot now, is I'm getting really, really good tender ribs with just a great, still has a nice smoky flavor. Cheers, try this out. Really good. The meat's not falling from the bone, which I don't like, but it is definitely pulling clean off the bone. Now let's try this cocktail, see if it's the perfect cocktail. Cheers. Yeah, the hot sauce is definitely hitting late, which is good. Initially, when you're drinking this, dangerously refreshing. Texturally, what it tastes like is if you could imagine kind of blending up a watermelon with, you know, some really ice cold water. You know, you have that kind of frothiness, I guess, like a watermelon would have. And there's actually almost a watermelon-esque, I made up a word again, flavor. It's really, really refreshing. I mean, like I said, you have to be careful with a drink like this. Wow. Very, very good. Help name this drink for me. Anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. El Yucateco, thanks again for sponsoring this video. Appreciate it. I'll have links down below. Please check them out. Sub, ring the bell, like it. I'll do all that stuff you're supposed to do. See you in the next video. Cheers.